Ladies and gentlemen, depending on how annoying it might be, I'm going to start every single segment on H.A. Goodman's H.A. Goodman, this channel, H.A. Goodman's other channel, not Bizarro World Goodman, so subscribe to all three. But I'm going to start every segment with the following. This is the Office of Director of National Intelligence report, the ODNI report compiled by James Clapper, with help from Brennan and Comey. Only 3 agencies helped compile this report. This is one of the reasons I'm wearing this fantastic shirt. This is one of the reasons I'm voting for President Trump. They set up and framed Trump. How do we know? This is from the United States government. This is the high to moderate confidence assessment that James Clapper introduced to the world as the basis to investigate President Trump and people like Michael Flynn. Quote, this is at the end of the Director of National Intelligence the report in 2016. Judgments are not intended to imply that we have... Actually, this report was from 2016 to 2017. Judgments are not intended to imply we have proof that shows something to be a fact. Assessments are based on collected information, which is often incomplete or fragmentary. High confidence generally indicates that judgments are based on high-quality information from multiple sources. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. These are statements from the United States government pertaining to the basis of the entire Trump-Russia hysteria, hoax, fabricated, absurd fantasy. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. They are only highly to moderately confident that Russia even hacked the DNC, or that Russia wanted Trump, or that Facebook ads swung the election. So before we get to Richard Grenell and Brennan, then there's this is in CNN, the most important paragraph in the Muller report. I might start every segment like this. It'll probably be annoying. Maybe I won't. Give me your thoughts below on whether I should. But here, quote, the evidence was not sufficient to support criminal charges. Among other things, the evidence was not sufficient to charge any campaign official as an unregistered agent of the Russian government or Russian principal. And our evidence about the June 9th, 2016 meeting, releases of hacked material was not sufficient to charge a criminal campaign finance violation. Further, the evidence was not sufficient to charge that any member of the Trump campaign conspired with representatives of the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. This is the basis. The Mueller probe led to no evidence that could lead to any criminal charges or any foundation for alleging or still accusing President Trump. They didn't even impeach President Trump on a crime. These are the two most important paragraphs or two most important passages from the Mueller probe and from the Director of ODNI, James Clapper's ODNI report. If you read these, Democrats are done when it comes to defending the a politicized investigation of President Trump and everyone around him. By the way, if you're on Facebook, please share my latest Times of Israel article. Hillary Clinton, not Biden, will be nominee. Share that everywhere on Facebook right now if you're on Facebook, and subscribe to Bizarro World Goodman. I'll have a segment soon. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. We're over 15,000 subs, and I have a great segment up right after you watch this, so go to that channel. And on this channel, like around 8 to 10 p.m. tonight, I always, every evening, have live streams. Why is it important that I read? It's not that I'm just quirky and annoying naturally, which I am. Why is that important? Because Richard Grenell declassifying documents showing John Brennan suppressed Russia intelligence. Why is that important? It's important, ladies and gentlemen, and there's 4 minutes of me kind of building up to this. It is important because they had just as much, if not more, information that Russia wanted Hillary Clinton. Guess who? Okay, if you have the propaganda is competing, they have competing propaganda narratives all the time. They say that Russia is afraid of Hillary, yet everything she touches is hacked by Russia. So how is that? Does that make any sense at all? Then you have money flows from Uranium One into the Clinton Foundation. Then you have private servers that were running on Microsoft Exchange software and had top secret and special access program intelligence, and thousands of classified emails for 4 years running outside of the United States government, where even Michael Hayden and Robert Gates said it's almost certain her servers were hacked. Well, that means all the classified intelligence and all the top secret intelligence those documents were also obtained by foreign actors. Even James Comey said, well, it's possible. But he couldn't find intent in trying to hide her communication. The point is this: they had to fabricate a fantasy because it was one of the most epic political losses of all time. They'll lose again with Clinton. They don't care. It's a political machine. Hillary Clinton is going to be nominated. Will have made the biggest political call of all time. And I wrote about that in the Huffington Post. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. But you wear this, and it drives liberals mad. It drives Democrats mad. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I wish that I could have written all those articles on how wonderful President Trump was, because he's a great president. Half of all the lives lost in this current crisis that was completely mismanaged by all the experts and all the wonderful Democrats and media pundits. You don't shut down the entire United States economy and cause 30 million people to be unemployed, and then find out that all your projections were wrong, and that this entire shutdown was predicated upon projections that eventually were revised downward and downward and downward. And don't say, well, that's because some states were locked down. No, a whole number of about 6, 7, 8 states didn't shut down completely, and they're doing infinitely better. Half of all the lives lost, half, this is a fact, go to the New York Times. The New York Times are in New York, New Jersey, and Michigan. Cuomo sent people who were infected to old age homes. And he just reversed that. That's a fact. Then on March 1st, he said that the general risk remains low for the people of New York, and that there's no reason for undue anxiety. This is on March 1st. In late January, President Trump had travel restrictions and a task force, but he was slow. And then they say, well, the intelligence agency told Trump, well, no, we have here, they would have leaked the information like they leaked the Steele dossier, which was purchased by Clinton, but here in the DNC. But here, President Trump's Director of National Intelligence, Richard Grenell, is declassifying information that shows John Brennan suppressed intelligence on Russia, wanting Hillary Clinton to win the 2016 election. Ladies and gentlemen, it is unbelievable. This isn't rocket science. They wanted Hillary to win just as much as they wanted Trump apparently to win, but we didn't learn about any of this information. So Fox News White House correspondent Ed Henry said Tuesday evening, quote, it could get sticky for Brennan, who served as director, due to his role in the developing the 2017 intelligence community assessment on Russian election interference that determined with moderate to high confidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted Trump. But they withheld information. There's other intel that may have been more serious, suggesting that Russia wanted Hillary Clinton to win. Rather than balancing that out in the assessment, they put out there in that assessment, and they put out there other information in that assessment and set the narrative that Russia wanted Trump to win. There's other intel that may have been more serious, suggesting that Russia wanted Hillary Clinton to win. There's other intel that may have been more serious, suggesting that Russia wanted Hillary Clinton to win. So here you have information that John Brennan himself, and when he was asked directly, do you have any evidence that Trump was working with Russia, he said, I don't have evidence of, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. And that's when he was, and that's where Brennan was at. So he never did evidence, he did intelligence. The intelligence community had no business looking into a an incoming president, when they had no evidence that he committed any wrongdoing, they investigated and found no evidence to charge anyone for conspiring with Russia. The evidence that they had was not evidence. It was a high to moderate assessment, the confidence level. They were suspicious. They politicized and criminalized suspicion. Just like when Chief Justice John Roberts and even Breyer in the Supreme Court stated just yesterday, well, to House lawyers, why do you need Trump's tax returns? Has he committed a crime? This is what I was talking about for months. They want Trump's tax returns for what purpose? The IRS already has them. So what is it? Oh, they want to write legislation. Yeah, right. Okay. But you're writing legislation on the grounds that you're suspicious. They're basing their suspicion on news reports from the New York Times, a newspaper that is in the tank with the Democratic Party and spends every single day trying to paint a picture of how horrible Trump is, and covering up the reality of Andrew Cuomo and other Democrats in New York. But the question is, what did he do? So they don't have a crime that he committed. They want financial records based on the suspicion that he could have committed a crime. You can't do that. You can't demand information from people. That's like saying that's like a security guard going up to you and say, give me your ID. You're not the police. Number one, and number two, for what purpose? You can't just say that you want President Trump's financial records because he might have done something. You need to actually indict him on something and then demand the records. Or, say that he committed this crime, indict him, and then demand the records. You can't, or at least say that a crime has been committed. Let's say you can't indict him because you don't have the records, but what was the crime that was committed? They haven't stated that. If you said to, Rudy Giuliani has stated numerous times, the Clinton Foundation, according to Rudy Giuliani, is a bribery and racketeering scheme and racket. You have money flowing into the Clinton Foundation from UBS, from Boeing, from Uranium One, from countries obtaining weapons deals. You have all of this money flowing into the Clinton Foundation. You have beneficial treatment taking place via Madam Secretary as Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, and they don't paint a picture. So New York Southern District looked at it and said, "Oh, there's nothing there." There's money flowing from Uranium One to the Clinton Foundation. Bill Clinton had a $500,000 speaking engagement from a Moscow investment bank. He literally met with Vladimir Putin when the Uranium One deal was going down. Yellow cake uranium shipped out of the country, according to the New York Times. They don't want to investigate. So the circumstantial evidence there points to obvious racketeering and bribery. Obvious. That's why the money flowed into the Clinton Foundation, not into the pockets, into that golden muumuu, into the Bill Clinton's pockets. Oh my goodness, I love that when my pockets are played with. So, nothing. But Richard Grenell now, in addition to uncovering names of people, now you have, ladies and gentlemen, who unmasked names, now you have this information coming out where you have President Trump declassifying information through Richard Grenell and hopefully through William Barr and the DOJ and others. The judge in Michael Flynn's case doesn't want to. He needs more evidence that Michael Flynn was set up. That's actually fine. That's actually really good for Michael Flynn and President Trump in the long run. Of course, you want it if you're General Flynn, you want it done and over with. But Judge Sullivan is actually doing a favor for President Trump, because now William Barr and John Durham and Richard Grenell just have to declassify even more information to show that the whole thing was a setup. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2017, I wrote in Debunking the Trump-Russia Myth that the whole thing was an absolute setup. Excuse me. I wrote that the whole thing was an absolute setup. And but her top secret emails and but her deleted emails. My book's on Amazon. The whole thing was a setup. And it was a setup because Clinton actually did commit crimes. She's going to be, now we're finding out from Richard Grenell declassifying information that Brennan knew it wasn't all about protecting Trump or helping Trump. And the notion that they also wanted Hillary Clinton, why didn't we know this? Why didn't we know this as a country? That's a question that needs to be asked. Why didn't we know this? By the way, to my new Patreons, thank you. Thank you so very much. If you want to support my voice, people on Patreon, the link is below in the pinned comment and description. My goodness, thank you very, very, very much. To my new Patreons, thank you again. Why didn't we know this as a country? So when people say, "Oh, you're making it work," this shirt represents bringing home Americans. It represents uncovering a very immoral, unethical, dastardly, insidious, nefarious hoax that was perpetrated upon not only President Trump, but the American people. There are millions and millions and millions of good people, even though they're liberal and on the left, who believe that Trump worked with Russia. He never did. He didn't have to. In 2015, NPR quoted me. I stated that Clinton would lose swing states and she was unelectable. She still is, but it's a political machine. They're going to go back again, and they'll lose again. I was a little worried that, because Biden, they wouldn't even get the popular vote. Biden's campaign is done. Biden stands for nothing. He's absolutely horrendous, and it's just he'll pick a vice president. Could be Hillary Clinton. Could be somebody else. Who cares? The vice president will serve to elect Clinton, to nominate Clinton. This whole thing, they didn't set up and frame Michael Flynn and Carter Page and George Papadopoulos and President Trump and everyone around Trump with a dossier purchased by the DNC and Clinton, with intelligence reports written by people in the tank for Clinton and the Democratic Party. They didn't do all of this with a Muller probe that found nothing, and try to impeach Trump under the absurd notion that Biden shouldn't be investigated, and that he was worried about Biden, so he went and tried to investigate. But the only people worried about Biden are Democrats, who are petrified that he might actually be nominee, which he won't be. He's serving a purpose just like Michael Bloomberg, who spent $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion. But ladies and gentlemen, check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right this second. Richard Grenell is the man. We're now finding out that Russia wanted Hillary Clinton. Gee, isn't that funny? Because now we also found out that the Steele dossier was riddled with Russian disinformation. And the Steele dossier, they purchased a dossier with help from an active Russian intelligence official. Then they were bragging in Vanity Fair and elsewhere how accurate the Steele dossier is. The whole thing was nonsense. Then they spent 3 years complaining that Trump worked with Russia when they're the ones who purchased the dossier with help from Russian sources to go after Trump. You have to understand also one thing. This is my public service announcement every segment from here on out. Do not talk to anyone. And if I tell you anything, do not talk. This is my 18-minute crowd. Don't talk to anyone who has derangement issues pertaining to President Trump. Just watch Bizarro World Goodman. I'll have a segment up soon. And don't debate, don't talk, don't get into an argument with anyone. Even if it's family members, friends, don't do it from now until we win in November, because President Trump's going to win again. I was thinking maybe Hillary could possibly win, giving her a 30% chance at one point, but no. Biden is a placeholder. They didn't have suddenly an app in Iowa that didn't work. That's the biggest. They talk about Trump and his lies and talking about crowd size or that Biden is corrupt. These are not grandiose lies, because Biden is corrupt and we know he's a sleazeball. But these are not like lies like, oh, President Obama saying the Flint water is safe, or the President Obama saying that he didn't know that his own Secretary of State had private servers when he emailed her countless times, or 20 plus times at least, under a pseudonym. Or that Clinton said, well, I deleted only yoga emails. On what planet would you allow top secret and special access program intelligence on servers And then they've convinced themselves to but her emails. It's only about emails on private emails. No. It's about servers with top secret intel. We don't even know how she was able to transfer the top secret intel. I talk about that in But Her Top Secret Emails and But Her Deleted Emails. That's below on Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, be here for the live stream this evening around 8 p.m. Pacific to 10 p.m. Pacific. I do about 2 from 8 p.m. until midnight Pacific time. Subscribe to this channel, people. Tell your so the live streams will be on this channel. Tell your friends to subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel, and tell your friends to subscribe to Bizarro World Goodman. It's heating up, and when the charade, and one person said to me in the comment section, "Oh, well, time's running out for Clinton." What? The closer it gets to the convention, the more my prediction. Even if the day of the convention, Biden's still the presumptive nominee, they're not gonna go with Biden in the first round. Unless they've all taken some kind of hallucinogen or some kind of substance where their minds are completely altered. He's only going to get worse from here on out, not better. August 18th is the centennial of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. They're not going to go with a guy who is not only credibly accused, I believe he actually did it. I believe Biden is that type of person, a very slimy type of person. Trump always viewed, those types of things as business transactions, and Kavanaugh, that was an injustice done to him. And Trump had 25. Yeah, all right when he ran for president, he was a Russian operative, bigot, and also a predator. All the same liberals who can't stand Trump now were glued to the TV watching Apprentice for over a decade he was on. Biden has had scandal and controversy, a plagiarism scandal, voted alongside the Bush administration, wrote the crime bill, said many racist things. They don't care. And now he's accused, and they believe Biden but don't believe Kavanaugh. They have no value system. They have no value system at all. But they're not going to go with Biden. The whole thing, the DNC attorneys already stated they could pick their nominee in smoke-filled back rooms. Ladies and gentlemen, I will have made the biggest political call of all time. Share my Times of Israel article. Share my Huffington Post article. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. And ladies and gentlemen, be here tonight for my live streams. They're awesome. Thank you so very, very much. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now.